Hey guys, so I recently found an auction on eBay that caught my attention. It was somebody who was selling old silver coins at a pretty good price, but no one else had bought it because the pictures on it were really grainy and you couldn't really tell what anything in it was, and so I guess people didn't want to take the risk. However, I'd bought from this dealer before and was very happy with my other purchases, and I thought I would give this one a go. One thing I like about this dealer, he did this last time. He used all these vintage stamps on them. I mean, look at that, 6 cent. Don't tread on me. How old does that go? The Philadelphia Light Horse flag, and then down here we've got Johns Hopkins, and then there's a Washington stamp, but we're not in here looking for stamps. We want to find what is in the bag, so let's tear the bag open right here and see what's in it. We've got another, make sure nothing fell out of the bag. We've got this right here with, it says, thank you from Larry in the bag. So we're gonna kind of open these up and just be surprised about what is in here. And I'm gonna go around in it for a while. And okay, so everything inside of here was in one big bag right there. So it's still, from here can't really see what's in here yet, so let's kind of open up the bag and find out what we got. Now there was one coin in here that I could identify from the picture, and so that's going to be the first one I pull out if I can get to it first. Let's tear open the bag here, and it's the biggest one. It's the only one in the picture that I could identify. It's this one right here, and that thing is a work of art. If you're not familiar with this, this is the Theresa Thaler coin, and look how shiny that is. If you look in the back, it's a very beautiful coin. I think there is a date on it up here at the top that says 1780. This coin is really not from 1780, but you already know that. This was it's about the size of a silver dollar, not as thick, but this is going to have 3/4 of an ounce of silver in it. And with that much silver, just the melt value of silver is $16, that would make this worth $12. And just knowing that, everything else, every other coin in this bag was less than $2 each. So that's one of the reasons I was willing to take the risk on this bag, is I knew what this coin was worth. The Theresa Thaler, and part of the history on this was one of the world's most produced coins. I think Maria Theresa was the Queen of Austria who died in 1780. This was a coin that was made back then, and Austria just decided to keep on making these. They've continued to make these for many, many years, and they still make them to this day. So if you see one that says 1780 on it, it's not really from 1780. It's been made every year since then, I guess every year. Some of them have even been made from people not in Austria. But the thing is, you can't tell how old this one is. It's in pretty good shape, so it can't be that old, I wouldn't think. But that is still a beautiful coin. I've heard there are people who, if you know what you're looking for, you can go through and hunt down some tiny little discrepancies and figure out exactly how old it is. But I don't have that level of knowledge on the coin. So let's see what else we get out of this bag right here. That made these, like I said, less than $2 each once you factor in how much that first one was. This one says 5 cents on it. That is, it must be Canada. I see the last two numbers are 75. That's probably 1875. We've got Queen Victoria from Canada, so maybe that one's not worth a couple of dollars, but it's still pretty old, and you can see most of the date on it. So that's still 1875. Still kind of neat to have it. This one is a looks like that's going to be a well-worn shilling. We've got George V on it. 1 shilling coin. It's kind of well worn, but I see a year of 1922 on there. That's still fairly old. Okay, next we have from France. This one's dated 1914. We've got a, it's probably 1 franc. If you look closely right there, that looks like a number 1. So, well worn. And they did advertise that most of these were very well worn, what you would call a coal coin. Some of them they're so worn that you can't really see what they are. This one's in pretty good shape, at least on this side. You can see all the little grooves on it. Question is, can I read any of that? I don't recognize what this is yet, but it is really old. 1858, 1 Groschen, 30 einen Thaler, 1 Groschen up there. So again, this is something like Austria. Some of the independent German states also used a Groschen. So I don't know what that says. I'm guessing that's a smaller German state. That's pretty cool right there. I'm glad to have that one. Next up, what do we have here? This one is Spain. Looking more like Spain here. We've got someone put a hole in this one. Maybe it was jewelry for a while, but the look of the date on that looks like 1798 from Spain. And you're not going to expect any coin that is 221 years old to be in that great shape, but I'm guessing that's Carlos III in Spain. Of course, there are also some Mexican coins that look kind of like that, but I wouldn't be able to say if that is Spain or possibly Mexico, but you look at the kind of the Spain on the back. So that's really cool. That's definitely worth $2. And back in our bag here, going for the next one. So a larger coin. Another one has a hole in it. Might be looking at Spain again. And about the same time, because we still have Carlos this one's going to be Carlos IV, so a little bit newer. We turn it around here. We've got a date of 1806. Someone drilled a hole right through the guy's head for their necklace or whatever they're doing with this. But still, we're looking at Spain. I probably wouldn't be able to afford this coin if it didn't have a hole going through it. Now, I see the word Hispan on there, so that looks like that is going to be, I see 2R, so 2 reals. So if you remember the expression pieces of 8, that was 8 reals, made the equivalent of $1 from that day. So this would be kind of an 1800s equivalent of a quarter, which was worth a lot back in 1806. So got several other coins here that have holes in them. Like I said, that's not a surprise. I wouldn't have bought this if it was a lot more expensive. Again, we're looking at Spain here. That is another Carlos III. So we've got a 17, first 2 digits of 17 are really easy to see. The next digit looks like 7. Also, a little tougher on that last number, but 1700 and something. Coin's definitely not as in as good shape as the last one, but it's the same size as that 2 real piece. It's holes kind of mixing up whether it's 2 reals or what it might have been. So take a closer look at that one later. Next we have a Willem II King. So what country is this going to be from? Wherever it's from, it's 25 cents and has a date on it of 1849. So that is I don't know what country that's from. I'm going to make a wild guess that that is something like the Netherlands or one of the countries up in that part of the world. Another older coin that has a hole through it. This one's kind of well worn. Can't really see where that is. Maybe we'll have to go by the shape of the face there. There's nothing that we can tell on the back here. So May never be able to identify that one unless we can recognize that one by the shape of the face. So next up, this one is easy to read, 20 Kopek, 1878. So we're talking somewhere like Russia. That probably is a Russian Empire coin, and this one, obviously it's well worn for being a coin that old, but being that old, for us to easily see the date like that, and that one's certainly in pretty good shape. Next up, this one is, can't tell too well on that side. This one's easier to see, so we're back to France. We've got a Napoleon coin here, Napoleon III. This is not the famous Napoleon. This one is Emperor of France, but this was going to be more like the 1850s. I see the letter F in the bottom corner, so this is probably 1 franc. And I've got other copper coins from Napoleon III, so this one is probably 1850s. That even looks like a top of an 8 right by my thumb. So that one is quite old. Next up we have, not really, never going to know what that one is. That is such a well-worn. I see a little bit of the grooves left in the top corner, but I cannot identify a single thing off of that. Let's go to the next one. So we're looking at, again, something from Spain, looks like. So we've got Alfonso XII, so the 12th. Dios, year 1880. So España, so we've got something else from Spain. Quite messed up there at the bottom, but that's pretty cool. Here we have another Alonso 13th. This year is 1900 on this one. Por la G de Dios. Here we can tell it is 50 cents. Spain, so Spain, their currency was the peseta, so that's a half peseta, 50 cents. Pretty good shape. Can see a lot of the markings on that, and that one's pretty good shape. The last biggest coin in here, that one's in, still has a little bit of luster on it. 1907. Let's turn it around, and that is, where are we from here? Something and Feliz por la Union, so it's Spanish, looks like Sol, S-O-L. So we might be looking at a Latin American country here. I forget who uses the Sol coin, but for a silver coin, that's a fairly big one. And it's 1907, so it's pretty decent shape. I see the word Lima written across the top, so we're going to be looking at Peru, I guess. Peru. I see the Peru right now underneath my fingers right there, underneath right here. So Peru 50 sol. 3 coins left in the bag. This one is probably not worth $2. It is a Canadian dime. Still, when they used a little bit of silver in it, but we've got George VI on there. Not so bad, but hey, you got still some silver out of that one. Next up, we've got something else that looking like it's from Spain. We've got 18, whoops. Again, we've got a hole through the top of it. Year of 1825. The king would be Ferdinand II. So Hispan written on the top. So again, something else Spanish or one of the colonies. Again, I wouldn't know if that is in Mexico or not, but you can at least see the details on that coin that is almost 200 years old. Coin number 19 coming out right now is 4. I see the number 4 written on it. Looks like the word Pence underneath it, 1894. And if this is actually from Britain, I'll be really happy. Victoria, Queen, 4 pence. How much? Got one thing left here, and then I've got to hurry on down because my son just got up from nap. The last thing that was in here is a really strange. It looked like 2 coins were melted together to turn into cufflinks. At least that was how it was described. Now that I can get a good picture of it here, that looks like we've got 2 coins that someone has fused together right there. So we've got 2 separate coins that we need to look at here. This first one is, I guess that's Poland. It has Polski written on it. I'd see a date of 1821. There's lots of really tiny markings on that. Like I see 43 over 125. There's another 45, I think, Z, CZ, IB initials. So it's very interesting. On the other side here, we have the date 1876. Maybe we can get another view of whatever was on the back of that other one that looks Poland. So that's just strange. And so if nothing else, there would be $2 worth of silver value just located in that. But I find that very interesting. I probably wouldn't have just gone out and purchased this by itself, but it's certainly kind of interesting to go with all these others. But this one is the real winner. I think I said it's $12 worth of silver melt value. You can go on eBay and there's dozens of them. The cheapest one I found listed today is $20, and then if I had paid $20 for this and then $27 for everything else, I think these are worth $27, even though there are some that you can't even see what's on them. But I mean, a 4 pence, a groat from that one's the one from Canada. I don't see where I left the little 4 pence on here, but yeah, British 4 pence were called groats, which sounds like a terrible name. All these old Spanish coins. This Russian one's in great shape, so I'm really happy with this purchase, and so I'm really happy for this. That Peru one, I certainly don't have anything like that. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.